different organisms. Today we'll be moving with the next topic. But before moving on, let's discuss few basic concepts related to alignment, and these concepts would help in next topic as well. I hope the slide is visible. Please confirm it.
Yes, doctor.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
doctor.
Okay. So as I already told you, the basic objective behind alignment was to find out the sequence similarity, which can help us in identification of functions, which can help us in identification of structure, or it could help us in finding out evolutionary relationship. Now, there are some numbers which we need to remember when we are comparing proteins. So proteins are homologous if 25% identical or 35% similar, and length must be greater than 100%. It should not be like that you are taking two protein and the length is only 10 residues. And out of 10 residue, if three are identical, then you can call them homologous. No, you can't do this. At least the length should be more than 100 residue, then this condition could be applied. The condition is more than 35% similarity, in which 25% should be the identity. If you have the DNA sequence, that is nucleotide sequence, the rule would get changed. In that case, if you want to claim that the two sequences could be homologous, then there should be 70% identity. Then only you can claim two sequences homologous to each other. So it depends what kind of data you are considering. If it is protein, it would work even with 25% identity. But if it is DNA nucleotide, then 70% identity has to be there. So this is thumb rule basically to infer the homology out of the similarity.
Okay.
Yes. Is there anyone would like to say something? Yes, please. Okay, no problem. Here you can see, this is just an example, alignment between ORF protein and a Shiga toxin from pathogenic bacteria. So here the alignment score is 407, identity is 87%, very high identity. And similarity is 95%, match length 89, and the query length is 87. So they have inserted few gaps, and then they have got like this plus, and now you have got this alignment score with the identity of 87%. So very close homologs. Higher the identity,
بطلع انا بطلع والله بطلع ها وش تقول لي لا وانا بقول لك شيء ما تصير انت تقول لي لا وانا
lot of noise is coming.
Hey, دكتور
Abrar,
أبرار ممكن تسكري المايك؟
thank you. Okay. Please ensure there's no disturbance in between. Okay. As I told you that when we are dealing with the sequence data, or for that matter, structure data as well, we are dealing with the one letter code, that is amino acid. So we should know the structure of each and every amino acid. We should know the one letter code for each and every amino acid. So here you can see it is glycine, alanine, valine, leucine, isoleucine, and proline. They all belongs to the same group, that is aliphatic amino acid. And then we have some amino acid with hydroxyl or sulfur containing group. So here this is cysteine, you can see sulfur containing, methionine, sulfur containing. And then we have amino acids with acidic group. So here you can see aspartic acid and glutamic acid. I think same thing I have been, telling again and again, the group of all these different amino acids. And then we have these aromatic amino acids. We are having phenylalanine, tyrosine, and tryptophan. One letter code you should remember. Phenylalanine F, tyrosine Y, and tryptophan W. We have basic amino acid. There are 3 amino acids: arginine represented by R, lysine represented by K, and the histidine represented by H. So these 3 are basic amino acid. These 3 are aromatic amino acid. Then we have aliphatic amino acid. Why I'm trying to show you is because if tyrosine is being replaced by similar, but if tryptophan is being replaced by this glycine, so tryptophan is altogether different and glycine is altogether different. They belongs to the different group. So it's a mismatch, and there would be a huge penalty, and it could distort the structure as well. In structural arrangement, if your tryptophan occupied a lot of space due to its structure, and if it gets mutated and it gets replaced by glycine, all of a sudden the structure would get distorted. So that is why we need to understand the structure of all these amino acids and one letter code for our better understanding, as well as their group, whether they belongs to aliphatic group, hydroxy containing, or sulfur containing, acidic amino acid, basic amino acid, or aromatic acid. So these are the groups clearly defined: acidanamides, DENQ, 10Q, aspartic acid, glutamic acid, and glutamine, and then basic HKR, histidine, lysine, arginine, aromatic F3, FYW, phenylalanine, tyrosine, and tryptophan. And then we have some hydrophilic. The color coding is also here: ACG, PST, alanine, cysteine, glycine, proline, serine, threonine. And we have some hydrophobic as well: ILM, isoleucine, leucine, methionine, and valine. All these things should be on your tips when you are analyzing biological data. This is the prior knowledge you should have before going on with the analysis. And sequence alignment, I have already explained you how to calculate. We generally consider identity as well as the similarity combined together to claim the score of the alignment. So here the identity, these are the identical, and plus means they belongs to the same group. And I have already explained you that what I mean when I say same group. Either they are acidic, basic, aromatic, aliphatic. So this is the meaning of the same group. So this score means identity score plus similarity score would be together make the alignment score. And these gaps would be penalty. These gap score would be deducted from the match score, and so whatever the total score we are going to get, that would be your alignment score. Scoring matrix, few things I have already discussed. Scoring matrix tells you the match and mismatch score, and let's see, I have already talked about this. Basically, scoring matrix have been designed by the scientist by using the concept of substitution. Let's say we are talking about these 4, 6, 8 sequences. So this particular sequence is the original. After some time, we are getting this version of the sequence. So here you can see there is no substitution of any residue. Then after some time, we are getting this sequence. So here the substitution has taken place. At this position, 4th position, the aspartic acid has been changed by glutamic acid. So subsequently, you can see what kind of substitution have taken place, whether these substitution could be dangerous for the protein, or just it would be a simple substitution which would not harm the structure of the protein. So if you have the knowledge of the amino acids, their structure, their properties, then it would be very, very easy for you to interpret that the substitution would be harmful or it would not be harmful. But scientists have taken a lot of data set, and then they have calculated the substitution in that data sets, and by using those substitution, they have designed a matrix, and those matrices are called substitution matrices, which are being used for local alignment, global alignment, multiple sequence alignment, as well as database similarity search. So this is what I was trying to convey you. If aspartate is being replaced by glutamate, so you can see the structure is almost same. So the first substitution matrix was PAM, point accepted mutation. It was developed in 1978 by Margaret Dayhoff. So again, it analyzes very similar protein sequences. And in that, they analyzes that how many substitution have taken place, how many of them are of acceptable nature. So sometimes we call it point accepted mutation as well. That is why we call it point accepted mutation. So do not negatively affect a protein's fitness, means the substitution which do not affect a protein fitness. When I'm saying fitness, what does it mean? The structure of the protein. And it has been, this matrix is being used in all kind of alignment. So the construction of the matrix, I'll not talk about that how these matrices are being constructed. I'll simply talk about the matrix. So this is the matrix. And here you can see if alanine is being replaced by alanine, what will be the score? So all these scores are being given here in the matrix. So either the tools are using this PAM matrix or the tools are using the other matrix, BLOSUM matrix. So with you, I have discussed the BLOSUM matrix. So you can stick any of these two matrices. The scoring scheme is irreversible with PAM 1, PAM 2, PAM 50, PAM 100, PAM 122, 120, PAM 250. There's a numbering scheme. Similarly, BLOSUM 1, BLOSUM 10, BLOSUM 50, BLOSUM 62, BLOSUM 100, there is a numbering scheme for BLOSUM. When we are using the numbering scheme in BLOSUM, the numbering scheme means increasing similarity level. But in PAM, the numbering scheme means decreasing similarity level. So we should remember these two things. PAM, the lower number of PAM would be equivalent to the higher number of BLOSUM. And if you, it is up to your data set. If your data set like SARS-CoV-2, so there's no similarity at all. So you can use low number of BLOSUM or higher number of PAM. And if you don't know anything about the data, then there is a middle figure that is BLOSUM 62 or PAM 50. You can always go with these two matrices. So this is the matrix. I have already explained you, right? If this cysteine is being replaced by cysteine, what would be the score? 12. Serine is being replaced by serine. The score would be 2. And tryptophan, as I told you, the same thing we have seen in case of BLOSUM as well. Here you can see the highest score because tryptophan is the most complex structure. And if tryptophan is going to be replaced by any other amino acid, then definitely it would impact the structure of the protein. So that is why they have given tryptophan a very high score if it gets retained in the alignment. And I told you there are different PAM matrices, PAM 1 to PAM 250. The matrix are derived from each other by multiplying the PAM 1 matrix n times. If I'm saying 250, it means PAM 1 is being multiplied by 250 times. And as I told you, low number of PAMs means there is more similarity. High number of PAM, point accepted mutation. We are talking about mutation. It means we are talking about changes. So as long as we are moving on with the number, it means more changes are happening. So low number of PAM means it is being used for short sequences and for strong local similarity. Strong means high local similarity. High PAM number, long sequences, weak similarity. High, I already told you, high PAM number means low similarity, means more mutation. So for long sequences and where we don't have much similarity, then we can use higher number of PAM. Like we can use PAM 120, generally recommended wherever there's 40% identity. PAM 60, generally recommended when 60% identity is there. PAM 250 for distant relation, when there is very less identity. So the rule is very simple. Low number of PAM means high similarity. High number of PAM means low similarity. And BLOSUM is just opposite to that. BLOSUM, we have already talked about BLOSUM. PAM came in 1978, but BLOSUM came in 1992. So it's a bit advanced than the PAM matrix. Again, they have calculated the score of substitution in a particular data set. And these are the substitution scores. So here you can see if glycine is being replaced by glycine, the score is 7. Here again, you can see the highest is for tryptophan. So the concept is same for both the matrices. And same rule, when you are selecting the blossom, lower number of blossom means less similarity, higher number of blossom means more similarity. And if you don't know anything about the data, then Blossom 62 recommended for general use. And most of the software by default are using Blossom 62. And if you are moving towards the higher number of Blossom, then you are using it for the closely related data sets. And if you are moving with the lower number of Blossom, then you are talking about the distantly related data set. So that is how you would decide upon which matrix has to be used. There is an option available. You can opt for Blossom matrices or you can opt for PAM matrices. Blossom, the concept is different, the way they have been designed. Blossom matrices are based on the replacement patterns found in the more highly conserved region of the sequences without gaps. That is local alignment. And PAM matrices are being designed based on mutations observed throughout a global alignment. So it includes both highly conserved region as well as mutable regions. So BLAST rule is Blossom 62 as a default, remember, right? And you can always change it. It is customizable. So I hope now you have understood what are substitution matrices, how they're helping you in alignment, and what matrix should be selected for your alignment. If you are targeting Blossom, then which Blossom matrix you must select. If you're targeting PAM, then which PAM matrix you should select. So this was about the alignment, local, global, multiple sequence alignment. Now we'll be moving with to the next topic, that is database similarity search, wherein we are going to have a new sequence, a known sequence. We are going to compare this sequence with the database. In database, we do have variety of sequences. So you can see with the help of this animation figure, this is the query sequence, and we would compare it with all the sequences database, and we will figure out which sequence from the database would be more similar to this query sequence. So here in this picture, you can say this is the picture. This is the sequence which looks very much similar to this new sequence. So by doing so, we would be able to figure out the function of this new sequence, because in database, whatever the sequences are available, the functions of all the sequences are available. That is called annotation. And we have seen in case of SwissProt, gene ontology, biological processes, pathway information, location, structure, all those informations were available. So in databases, if we are talking about this protein, all the information related to this protein is available. And if you have a new protein, so that is why you would compare this new protein with the database protein, in a hope that some protein from the database would reflect some sort of identity or similarity with your protein, so that it makes your life easier to find out the function of your protein on the basis of database protein. So this is the concept of database similarity search. So here you can see from database, this is database sequence and this is your query sequence. So they're almost similar. And the interpretation is, if they're structurally similar, if they're similar in sequence, then they might perform similar functions as well. So with the help of this, you can annotate this query sequence. And I mean, this picture is just, sequences that have similar, probably have the same function. So here you can see there are two different cycles, but they are performing the same function. I hope you might have got what I'm trying to convey. Anybody would explain these two pictures?
I can explain, I think.
Yes, please.
Here in these two pictures, we can see two different models. Both of them do the same purpose, um, to take people from a place to another.
Yes, exactly right. So what I'm trying to convey you, look here, just by just perception, these two are same. This cycle and this cycle. They somewhere, I mean, the wheel is here, the wheel is here. Somewhere there is some sort of similarity in these two vehicles. So with the help of the similarity, one thing could be claimed that they might perform the similar function. And the function of this vehicle is same as of this function. And this is what we do in sequence comparative genomics as well. That is why we compare. If accidentally we get some sort of similarity, then we get the information of the function. Like here, from the similarity level, we could easily tell that these two things are performing the same functions. So the same applies to sequence analysis as well. Now, when we perform the BLAST, basic local alignment search tool, whatever the query sequence you are taking, first of all, you need to ensure that there are no low complexity reasons in your query sequence. And what are these low complexity reasons? These are like this. Sometimes in your query sequence, a particular residue gets repeated many times. Sometimes in your query sequence, a particular set of residues may repeat many times. And these transposable elements, jumping genes, we also call them. So these are some of the examples which may result in low complexity sequences. And if you are having low complexity reason in your query sequence, you might get wrong results. So it's always advisable to remove low complexity reasons from your query sequence when you are performing database similarity search. So how to remove it? In software, I'll show you how to remove this. You can simply mask them. You can simply delete them. And how the software would identify? There is a formula. So in this sequence, let's say this is the query sequence. This is one sequence, and then we are having this TA repeated many times. So what we can do? We can mask it. We can replace it by NNNN. It's nucleotide. That's it. And there's a formula to calculate the complexity of the region. So the software is using this formula, and with the help of this, the software is calculating whether the sequence do have a low complexity region or not. If it does have a complexity region, then the software automatically masking it. Now, come to the point, the BLAST, basic local alignment search tool. One of the most widely used bioinformatics software. It was developed in 1990. And since then, it's available to everyone at free of cost at NCBI site. NCBI, as I told you, is a bank. We do have so many databases associated with NCBI. We do have so many software associated with NCBI. So BLAST is also being taken care of by NCBI. So there are different versions of the BLAST. So according to your need, you can customize this software and you can use any of the version as per your input query. And the input query must be in FASTA format, and I have already explained many times how to get the data in FASTA format. So what it does, I mean, you submit a query sequence. That query sequence, let's say there are 100 sequences in the database. So the software would compare your query sequence with all these 100 sequences one by one. And what it would perform local alignment. Means it would search for that small region in your sequence and the database sequence, which is similar or identical. And out of 100, the sequence which would show most or higher similarity with the query sequence would be selected for extension. And that would have a score. So the BLAST work on the principle of searching for localized similarity between the two sequences. And after shortlisting the similar sequences, it searches for neighborhood similarity. So out of 100, first it would decide that with which sequence you are going to get highest similarity. And once you do so, because you have got this information on the basis of local alignment. So now you'll extend your alignment towards both the side. And how long you will extend your alignment? Up to threshold value. We have a threshold value in case of protein and in case of DNA. You keep aligning residue until unless you are breaking below threshold value. So here, rather than comparing the entire sequence, we compare only a small stretch of the sequence. That is called word. We break the sequence into small stretches. In case of protein, the size of the stretch is 3. And as I have been explaining, you get sequence similarity, structure similarity, and evolutionary relationship by doing so. And then there was another software before BLAST, FASTA. It was developed in 1985 for comparing protein sequences. But later on, they have modified it for DNA also. So they are using statistics method for comparison. So they also compare the local region from the query sequence with the database sequence. So let's do a bit more on BLAST, basic local alignment search to understand some more terms, and then we'll move on with the hands-on practice. So general idea, a good alignment contains subsequences of absolute identity. So what you first need to do, because this is the concept we know, if we are comparing two sequences, then most of the time you will get a small stretch which is almost identical. So why to start with the complete sequence? You should start with that stretch only. So that is how the software is working. So first you need to identify that small stretch that exactly matches with the query database sequence. And then you extend the matches both the side until unless you reach to the threshold value. So that is what you do in this. Next, the best shortest hits from the first step are extended to both the direction. And that is how it works. So let's say this is your sequence. So first you break this sequence into small stretches. Like in case of protein, you break it into small size of 3, 3. FSG, your first word, and then SGT, second, then GTW, third, and then TWY, fourth, and then WYA. So these are the 5 words you have got from your query sequence. Similar thing could be done for your database sequence as well. And let's say from database sequence, you are getting these words. So now what would happen? Each word from this query sequence would be picked and would be compared with these database sequence word. So with any of these words, you'll get the highest similarity score. And Blossom would help you to calculate the similarity score. You'll do this exercise for all the words. And then one day you'll get that this is the word which is showing highest similarity with this word this word from query and this word from database sequence. Now what you'll do, you'll extend your alignment to this side as well as this side. Let's say G alanine, you know A to G, the score is 2, T to T, the score is 5, tryptophan, we know score is 14, so 14 plus 5, 19 plus, let's say this is a mismatch, so only score is 0 or 1, 20. So that is how the alignment score of this small stretch would be calculated. Now you have the liberty to extend your alignment both sides. Means you'll align this T to S as well, then W to W would come, then Y to Y, until unless your score don't go below threshold. And for protein, the threshold is I think 22. So as of now, you have got the score 20. And then TS, you'll add this score as well. Tryptophan, you know, 14 score would be added to this. So you keep on doing this until unless you don't go down below 20, this side as well as this side. So at the end of the day, you'll be getting a small stretch in between both these sequences, which you can claim HSP. So this is how it is done. This is the word you are getting from this query sequence. This is the word which you have got from database sequence. And now what you'll do, you'll extend alignment to this side as well as this side. So this side, it has been extended up to this point, because if you go beyond this point, the threshold would decrease. Similarly here, the alignment is being extended up to this point. If you go below this point, beyond this point, the threshold would decrease. So this particular region is called high scoring segment pair. Means this is the highest pair in both the sequences which is giving you the highest score. I'll not take the concept of gap blast. If you understand the concept of normal blast, that would be more than enough. In gap blast, there's nothing, we allow gaps as well. So now, when you are going to perform the blast, you are going to get some results. So how to tell whether the results are good or bad? So there are 2 parameters, statistical significance and biological significance. Statistical significance, obviously you'll get the score. If the score is good, it means the alignment is good. We have already seen it in case of multiple sequence alignment and pairwise sequence alignment. So let's see statistical significance. It means the outcome of the blast result. So here there's a parameter, what is the parameter is called E value. Very, very important. Ideally, your alignment score should be towards higher side and your E value should be towards lower side. If it is 0, it means you got an ideal match. The e-value is just telling you the random match. Is the match you have got by accident. But that doesn't mean that you are going to get a homologous sequence. It's exactly similar to, let's say a student is having 10 subjects. And in one of the subject, accidentally, he or she got 90 marks. And in rest of the subject, the student have got 30, 40, and 20 marks. Do you feel that on the basis of that random result, we would call this student an intelligent one? So that is what we call randomness. Randomly, yes, we can get some result randomly, but it should not be much. So that is why we never allow too much randomness. And randomness is being taken care by e-value. The expect value, e-value, is the number of alignments which scores greater than or equal to the score S that are expected to occur by chance, that is randomly in a database search. So it's a probability value, e-value. And this is the formula of the e-value. It is directly related to the k is, let's say, put k is constant. And whenever we are going to get the e-value, we are going to get the e-value for an alignment. It means we are having a query sequence and a database sequence. So m is the length of the query sequence, n is the length of the database sequence, and s is your alignment score. And these two are statistical parameter dependent upon scoring system. So as of now, I can keep these two things as constant. So if you know m, n, and s, then you can calculate the e-value. So if the length of the query sequence is increasing, it means e-value is increasing. If the length of the database sequence is increasing, again e-value is increasing. And if the score is increasing, then the e-value is decreasing. E-value is directly proportional to length of the query sequence, length of the database sequence, but it is inversely proportional to the score of the alignment. Now, when you are opting for the result, then what should be the e-value? Generally, ideal scenario, it should be 0. But we never get 0 until unless two sequences are same. But it should be as low as possible. That's what I can say. And then comes the biological significance, which we have been talking about. Functional similarity, structure similarity, evolutionary relationship. Now, what we have in BLAST, we could have query sequences. The query sequence could be of nucleotide, could be of protein. And then we have databases. Database could be of nucleotide or it could be of protein. So there could be multiple permutations and combination. This nucleotide query sequence could be compared with nucleotide database. And after translation, it could be compared with protein database as well. Same thing could be done with protein sequence as well. So on the basis of all these, we have different types of BLAST. Have query sequence, DNA query sequence, same is being done if we are having protein sequence and we are comparing with DNA database. So here, this is called T-BLAST-N. So the translated nucleotide sequence in the database would be protein database. So this is the example. That is how you'll have to take the sequence from the UniProt in FASTA format, and then you'll submit this in the BLAST. Now, we will do this exercise. And if you want to compare that which software is better, BLAST versus FASTA, as of now, the entire scientific community is using BLAST. No one prefers FASTA because of the speed. As I told you in the beginning as well, speed is very, very important in today's scenario. You want to get the result as quickly as possible. So BLAST is much better than FASTA because most of the time it is much accurate than FASTA. And you can modify it, you can customize it according to the need. But in FASTA, you cannot do that. And there are different versions of BLAST as well. There are six. Depends on what type of data you have. So this is the website. I hope all of you would open this. I'll paste the link in the chat box as well after some time. And what we are going to do, we are going to compare protein or nucleic acid sequence against a database. And we'll be using different statistical parameters, matrices. We'll be removing the low complexity region as well. This is the home page of the BLAST, or we would the same home page of the BLAST. So what you are going to do, choose the query sequence from the UniProt database, select the BLAST program accordingly, BLAST P or BLAST N, whatever, and then you select the database to search. After program, you select the database. Whether you are using UniProt, GenBank, PDB, you have to select. And then you have to select parameters as well. And if you don't know anything about the parameter, keep it as whatever the default value there, those values. And then you have to click. That is how window would come in front of you. This box, you'll have to enter the FASTA sequence. You can enter accession number as well as you can enter FASTA sequence. And FASTA sequence is 1 lakh residue long. And you don't want to compare all those 1 lakh residue. You only want to compare residue number 100 to 1000. So just specify here. The range is 100 to 1000. You want to compare only this region from this sequence. So that's how you can define your input, or you can upload your file as well. And even decide the title of the job. This is the first section, enter query sequence. In the next section, you'll have to select the database. If you are having a DNA sequence, then select the DNA database from here. If you're having a protein sequence, then select protein. There are so many options available once you click on this. And you can specify, if you know that you are having a sequence from most, then you can specify human as well. And if you don't know anything, then keep check on this any. And then the word right now, I'm talking about the BLAST P. That is protein BLAST. If you want specific iteration BLAST, but I'm going to do this. Just keep this BLAST P. And then you click on this BLAST. You'll get the similar result. But as of now, you have not applied that low complexity. So to do so, you'll have to click on this algorithm parameter. That is how you are going to get the result. This is a color scheme. high similarity is being represented with red color, and then subsequently it is decreasing. Black color means very similar. And if you move the cursor on these colors, you'll get the alignment as well. And later you get a table of alignment. This is the alignment of the query sequence with the first database sequence. And you can see the core of the alignment, p-value, how many identical residues are there, how many positives are there, like aspartic acid and glutamic acid, how many gaps are there. So these are the basically what pairwise sequence. And that is how the window would be. Let's say you have query sequence, your query sequence is being compared with all database sequence, and these are the few results is being shown. Like this is the first sequence. First sequence is showing 100% sequence similarity and identity with your query sequence. Means your query sequence and this sequence same. So that is why the E value is 0. We keep moving, and then now see here. This is the sequence which is not same to your query sequence, but how much it is query sequence 81.21. So it's still very good homology. And the E value is 2 e to the power minus 88. It was 0.0088 times 0 and then 2. Very low, almost closer to 0. And that's what you want. So that is how you get the result. And this BLAST algorithm, I have already explained you what you are going to get. For the query, find the list of, first you break it into small words. These are the words. And then these words will be compared with the database sequence. And wherever you get maximum score, you select that particular position and then you extend it to both sides. So by doing so, you get the maximum segment pair. And E value, I hope now this is very, very clear. The chance that the match would random. Ideally, we should not have this probability in our alignment. That's why we say value as low as possible. If you're going to have low E value, the more significant would be your result. Is E value, as I already explained you, is E value is equal to 0 means that the two sequences are identical. And if it is 10 to the power 4, it's 0.0004. It's perfectly fine. So if you want to ask any question related to this question, the session is open for discussion, and then we'll move to the practice. We can take a break of 5 minutes, and then in the meantime, you can think of, and then I'll take your questions. Fine? Agree?
Okay, doctor.
Okay. So we are taking a break of 5 minutes, and then we'll have the discussion. So let's get back to the work. So now the
Doctor,
section is open for the query. Yes, please. Open.
yes, yes, I have a question regarding the use of PAM or Blossom. Both give the same identity or identical score or identical and similar percentages, correct? If I use PAM 250 versus Blossom 62, and they will both retain, let's say, 35 percentage identical. I mean, that's true or not? No. No.
Let me make once again clear. Pen blossom the substitution matrix. So scientists have calculated the rate of substitution two different data. One data set they have compared globally and they have noted down all substitution at global level. And then they have designed the PAM matrix on the basis of those substitutions. While on the other hand, in Blossom, they perform only local alignment. So what they've done, they have figured out the conservation of the data. That's the reason only they check the substitution. On the basis of substitution, they have designed a matrix, they are lost. To us that BLOS is basically for similarity and basically for dissimilarity. But having what they have done after that, they have created subsequent matrices the help of basic matrix. So in PAM, the basic matrix is PAM1. So they have created different version of PAM by multiplying it many times. So let's have PAM multiplying 50 times. What they are claiming, you are having a data set. If you are having a query, you feel is very distant, and you can talk in case of Spike Pro. It is quite evident that it is not similar with any of the tools. And in that case, you can use that particular matrix which is for distantly related sequence. And the higher number of PAM is for distantly related sequence, and lower number of PAM is for similar sequences. Let's say if you are comparing insulin, so a little bit informing the wrong organism. So you can use the matrix which is used for to you. This might be similar with any other insulin from a higher similarity. So in that case, higher number of blossom or lower number of
do we need to know the score itself? Like if two
Because
proteins are similar 81%, then how do I get from the score itself, even if it was
yes,
high or
because
low?
that 81% is coming as a combination of residual similarity or positional similarity. At every position, the score is being taken from these substitution matrices. And at the end of the day, these scores have been added together to claim whether the sequences are similar or not. It could be 80%, 70%, whatever is the number. But the score, the which we are taking from the substitution matrix, is helping us in calculation of the overall similarity score. And that
Oh,
similarity score is mainly helping us to claim whether we are having high similarity or low similarity.
yeah. Okay. They are just information in bigger equation. Like we can't tell one from the another. But we can depend only on similarity or only in score. Is that
No,
correct?
no,
Will we need both?
similarities. No, no,
Similarity
no,
is
no.
better.
Similarity. The score itself would indicate the similarity. The
Yes,
score
yes,
itself would indicate the similarity.
yes,
If you are
yes,
having low score, it means that your similarity level is very poor. If you are having high score, it means your similarity level is very good.
yes. Now I get the point. My question is like why we do care about the different metrics if we have only similarity, because if we only have the similarity score, then whatever the score itself, we don't really care, because 81 in Blossom is the same of 81 at PAM. Even the scores, they are both different. Like I have 1000 score in PAM and 500 score in Blossom because of the numbering method there. But at the end, we have the same similarity. Why we don't only in similarity? But as you said, we can both know the similarity or predict the similarity from the score itself. So no problem in that situation. I think this the message I got. Is that
Yes,
correct?
yes. Oh, yeah. This is correct, Obada, right? Whatever the similarity score we are getting, that score is telling us whether the alignment is good or bad.
Yes, totally good. Thank you.
Any other question?
I have a question about the size
Yes.
and the E-score. So the E-score is directly proportional to the sample size or the query size. What is the smallest and the biggest, let's say, size of query that we can use in BLAST? Because
100,
as you said,
100 residues.
it's
Although,
the
I mean,
smallest
I'm
or
not
the biggest?
the smallest.
Smallest. So the biggest is what? The limit. What is the limit? Because we don't want that redundancy in the letters or in the protein or that, what did you say, that region?
No, no, we are having 6 different version of BLAST, and they have
Okay.
mentioned it that how many, what is the maximum size. So I don't think they have given it in terms of length. They have given it in terms of number of base pairs.
Mm-hmm.
And so for every, I mean, as far as the length is concerned, I don't see there's any problem. You can, whatever the sequences are available in the GenBank, any sequence you can use for BLAST comparison.
But wouldn't that affect the score negatively?
Longer the sequence, better you'll get better result in terms of significance.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Any other question? Yes, it means all of you have understood everything.
Let's continue.
No other
Let's
question?
continue. Doctor, let's continue. There is no questions.
Okay. So let's do a small question. I'm typing it in the. You are having two databases. A database, 50,000 number of sequences are 50,000 in A database. B database, number of sequences in B database is 90,000. I posted it. Rest everything is constant. Which database would give you more significant result? Please type your answer in the chat box. Out of these two databases, which database would give you more significant result? Please type your answer in the chat box.
Can you repeat the question?
My question is, we are doing database similarity search of a query sequence with the database. I have given you the size of two databases and the length of the query sequence is same. At first instance, you are comparing this query sequence with the A database. At second instance, you are comparing this query sequence with the B database. Which database would give you more significant result? I have already
I
discussed
have a
it.
question about this question. Is any of the databases redundant, or are they all reviewed? So you have 90,000 different different
We are
sequences and
no,
50,000 different.
Whenever we are using any database in BLAST, we should always go for the non-redundant database. There's no point of taking a redundant database.
Okay. Okay.
So by default, these are non-redundant databases. Some of you are saying B, some of you are saying A. Dr. Abid, the longer the sequence, the higher is the E value and it will be less significant. Dr. Abir, I have kept the length of the sequence constant. So there's no point of sequence length. We are just varying the size of the database. I hope the question is clear to everyone. Mohammed, I have posted the answer of your question as well.
Yes, I saw. Thank you.
Right? It's huge. I mean, you can take any sequence. It's very huge. 1 lakh. Hardly you get any few sequences in UniProt wherein you get the size more than 1 lakh. Otherwise, 95% or more than 95% sequences would be covered. I hope, Dr. Abir, you have got the clarity on that, what exactly we are talking about. I'm talking about that what exactly we are doing. We have taken two databases of different size, but the query is of same size. Let's say the length of the query is 100 residues for the first database as well as for second database. So now you need to tell me which database would give you more significant result. I hope now this is clear. Please confirm it. Okay, so now the question is very much clear. We have talked about different parameters, length of the query, length of the database. But I'm using only one concept. E-value we have talked about to find out whether you are going to get the significant results or not. Some of you are saying B. And some of you are saying A. Obada is saying A. Rose is saying A. Mohammed, Dalal, and Abir. I've got answer as B. What about others? I want everyone to participate in this because that would improve your understanding about the interpretation of BLAST result. I've got answers only from 5 participants. Hala is also saying B. Sabah. Sabah, Zain, Abrar. I think all of you should participate. I'm still waiting response from some other participants. Sabah, Abrar. Okay, Abrar is also saying is going with B. Zain. Okay. So most of you have responded. Some of you have said A and some of you have said B. So first let's talk about B. Let's start it with Mohammed. Mohammed, you have posted B. What is your thought process behind selecting B?
Simply, I thought that with comparing that same sequence to 90,000 other sequences, I might have a higher chance of finding significant comparable results. While the 50,000 ones,
Okay.
maybe I will not find a significant comparable result. So the higher the
Okay.
blasts that are run, the higher the chance that I will get a similar result.
Dalal, what is your logic behind opting for B option?
I think it's more accurate when we take longer sequence.
We are not talking about the length of the sequence. We are talking about the size of the database.
I think it depends if the database is reviewed or not.
But that is what I have all.
Having a
Okay.
big number of database doesn't mean that all of them is accurate. It should
No,
be
no, no.
reviewed.
احنا حكينا انهم كلهم ريفيود 90,000 كلهم ريفيود 50,000 كلهم ريفيود.
So if they are reviewed, B is better because it have a higher number of data.
Okay. Abrar. What is your logic behind opting for B? Okay. You agree with Mohammed, what Mohammed have said. Fine. Hala, what is your logic? I'm just trying to understand that what you are thinking about this discussion, so that it would give me more clarity. Yes, Hala. Okay. Let's discuss with the A option. Obada, you have opted for A.
Yes, as Muhammad said, he said that the more results we have, like 90,000, then I have a higher chance of getting the score. Then if I have a higher chance, then I have a higher E score. A higher E score is less significant. I think the question was which one is the more significant. Then A is my answer. Like more chance of getting something significant, or more chance of getting something. This is the meaning of E score. Then a higher E score, which is less significant than a lower E score. So I think A is the answer. I hope I am clear on this one.
Rose.
Yes, my answer is A,
Please.
because I think less size will give more significant result. I think that.
How?
How? I'm not sure really.
Yes. Okay. Dr. Abhi is saying maybe she get confused with the equation that was used to calculate E value. Yes, Dr. Abhi, definitely I can show you once again that equation. I hope this is visible. Please confirm it.
Yes,
Is it visible? Okay. Now still you have the chance to think about whether you have whatever the options you have reported are correct or not. My question was more significant. It means better results. And I told you e-value should be as low as possible to have better result, means more significant results. And now this equation says everything. We had already discussed it. So let's again come back to the checkbox. Yes, Dr. Abir. This is what I have explained, and this is what this equation is saying. Now, anyone would like to change his or her answer?
Yes, I want to change because I think what Abada said is true.
Yes. So, Bada, wonderful. You have got the concept very correctly. The size of the database would increase the e-value as well. And if you're going to have more higher e-value, the randomness of your result would increase. And that is what you don't want. E-value should be as low as possible because you want actual match, not random matches. So that is why the A option is correct. I hope all of you have got the clarity about the concept. This is the most important concept in BLAS interpretation. Now I'm pasting the size of the sequence. A sequence, let's say I'm taking S1 of 1000 residue and S2 is of 2000 residue. Now the database size is 1 lakh. Now in which case you'll get more significant result. Now it should be easy for you because you have already absorbed the concept. I want all of you to please respond in the chat box so that I get an understanding where exactly we all are, whether we all are moving with the same pace or not.
In the equation, is the power inverted or not? Was there a minus on the power or not?
Yes,
Okay.
I'll show it again. This is what.
Yes, there's a minus. Okay.
These two slides would be shared with you all today. I'll share it with the technical team. I'm getting a feel that you haven't understood what I have just discussed in the last 1 hour, 1.5 hours, because I'm not getting any response. Dr. Abir have joined with 4 devices. Okay, Dr. Abir, no problem. Let me read your responses. S2 is going to be, Mohammed is saying S2. Abra, the lower the E value, the result will be more significant. So it would be S2. Okay. Okay. Obada is sitting with S1 and Mohammed and Abrar is saying S2. Let others also participate in the discussion. I'm waiting for others. No one else is going to participate in the discussion. It means you're not enjoying this discussion. This is what I'm getting.
Size is the same, Abir. It's the same sequence. Same sequence.
Yes.
Two
No, the
different
sequence
scores.
length is different.
Oh yeah.
This time we have the same database, but the
Same
length of the
database.
sequences are different.
And Abada is changing to S2.
Yes, sorry, I thought S stands for the length of the sequence itself, not the S in the power.
S
Right.
is not for power, S is the length of the sequence. Sequence 1 and sequence 2. The power in the
what?
formula, that S is a score, and we have nothing to do with the score.
I thought
Okay,
it's the score. Then
yes,
it's
yes,
one. Then it's S1 then.
Just please,
yes,
please,
S1,
one by
my
one.
first
S1.
answer. I heard you said that before, so I thought, yes, it's length, then I answered S1. But when I revise the equation, I get confused. Sorry for that.
Okay,
Then
I thought it's the
S1,
score.
Noted, please.
Okay, it's S1. It's S1.
Abrar, the size is constant in the 2. Yeah, me too. I thought it's the score. No, it's not the score. That is why I've written S1 sequence and S2 the second sequence. The length of the sequence, the size 1000 residue, and here 2000 residues. Yes. Okay. Uh, Dr. Abir is still going with S2, that is sequence 2 of 2000 residues. Let me clarify it once again. The length of the sequence is directly proportional with E value. So if the length of the sequence is more, it means the E value would be more. And if the E value would be more, our results would be less significant. I hope now this would help you in opting the correct option. And the correct option is S1. Because in case of S1, the length of the sequence is less than the length of the sequence in case of S2. So we would have lower E value in case of S1. Lower E value means more significant result. I hope, Dr. Abi, the point is clear. I need to ensure that we all are on the same level. Okay. Okay, fine. So now let's move forward. This was just the discussion about the output. Now let's take a sequence. This is the blast. I hope the screen is visible. Screen is visible to everyone.
Yes.
Okay. Now you see, all of you need to open this. I hope all of you have opened it. You can see different version of blast. I'm just removing it. Basic local alignment search tool. You can see web blast, nucleotide blast is here, which compare nucleotide sequence to nucleotide database. We do have protein blast, which compares protein sequence to protein database. And then we have other versions of blast as well. And I have already talked about these two versions as well. But we'll be using only these two blast. So let's say, and apart from that, if you go here, you can learn more about this, the blast, although I have explained very much about this database. And we have other blasts as well, prime blast to find out the primers. We have for global alignment also you can use blast. For multiple sequence alignment also you can use blast. So you can perform many functions with the help of blast. But as of now, we are searching databases for similarity. So I'm going to click on this protein blast. I hope all of you have done the same thing. Yes, please confirm me. All of you are on the same page wherever I am.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So here also you can see all blasts are coming, blast N. Right now we are using this blast P. But if you want to change, you can change it here, right? So we'll go ahead with blast P only. And here you can see, you can provide the accession number, you can provide the FASTA sequence. So I'll take, this is UniProt, and I'll take SARS-CoV-2 spike protein, SARS-CoV-2 spike protein. And I'll see how many other proteins are similar to SARS-CoV-2 spike protein. So this is SARS-CoV-2 spike glycoprotein, S2. So I'll take this and from here also you can directly perform blast. I hope you can see this. Is this visible?
Yes, you can see it.
It would go at the same pace, right? It would, if you click on here, it would automatically move here. So you can default or advanced version. So I'm going with the default version. So now it has already started the blast. But what I'll do, I'll copy this sequence and I'll put this sequence here as well. Fine. So now this is my spike glycoprotein. So the length of the spike glycoprotein is somewhere 1230 residues, something like that. Whether you want to compare all these residues from first residue to last residue, or you want to compare only few residues, let's say from 50th residue to 500 residue. So you can mention here from 50, from 20, whatever, right? But as of now, I'm not going to, select a sub range. I just want to compare the whole length. Now the next thing is automatically it has picked the job title. So you can change it as per your requirement. Just make it more attractive or more clear or organized. So now this is SAR spike glycoprotein. Now next is database. So known redundant protein sequence. So automatically it has selected the database. But if you want to change, you can change it and you can see what all options you are getting. UniProt, SwissProt. So SwissProt, as I told you, verified, you can select this as well. In SwissProt, you are having what? Reviewed entries. So you want to compare, you want to select only reviewed entries from the database, you can select. And if you want to select PDB, protein data bank, means there are 1,72,000 structure. So you want to see, is there any protein which is similar to this, you can select PDB as well. You can select this RefSec as well for non-redundant. All non-redundant options are available. But by default, it is giving you non-redundant protein sequences. And then you do have some more options available: quick blast, blast P, blast. If you are having, distant similarity, and if you want to improve your result, if you are not getting any similar protein with the help of this blast P, then you can go for blast as well, position specific iteration. But as of now, I'm focusing on this normal blast. Now see these algorithm parameter. As I have already explained you how to mask low complexity region. So what do you want here? Parameters, maximum target sequence. So from database, 100 at a time. So you can change it 50 at a time or 10 at a time, so that on the page, on the result page, only 10 would be visible, or on the result page, only 50 would be visible. It is entirely up to you. You can customize it. Expected threshold value, you want only those results with E value with 0.05. You can change it. If you want 0, then only few results would come, only identical. So keep it default, whatever it is. Word size, keep it default, don't change it, right? But if you have the proper knowledge of your data, then definitely you can change these things. And then the scoring matrix I told you, right? As of now, you have, look, all the options are available. PAM, lower number of PAM, higher number of PAM, lower number of blossom, higher number of blossom. So as of now, we are going with the general rule, and general rule, blossom 62 is the best when you don't have any information. And gap extension, the gap opening is 11, penalty extension is -1. And then all other things. Now, filter low complexity regions. So low complexity region, yes, check this box. If there are low complexity region, then remove those low complexity regions. And then now you can perform the blast. I hope all of you have done the same thing. So it's running. Here you can see, in the meantime, we have directly performed the blast by UniProt, and then you have got these results. This is the blast result. What database they have used, how many sequence from the database is being compared with your query sequence, which matrix, Blossom 62, as I told you. How much time it has taken, 3 minutes, near about 4 minutes. All these information, this was your query sequence, and these are the sequences which are similar to your query sequence. You can see here, you have got this first spike protein, identity is 100%, because you have taken the protein from the database and you are comparing the same protein with the database in which this protein is already available. So obviously you'll get 100% identity. So this is the same protein you have taken. But the next one is this DAT SARS, 77%. And then this is SARS-CoV-2, but it is showing similarity with SARS spike as well. See here, 76%. And you can, change it. If you want to have only reviewed one, then you can apply the filter, and you want to, select that I want only reviewed one. Bat coronavirus. See here, murine coronavirus, only 31% identity. And same result you might have got here as well. Now this is the proper blast, right? Same result. You can see here. These are the 3 strains. Spike protein, because we are taking known redundance. We have chosen known redundant database. So all the proteins would come from NCBI, from all other places. So there is, you are getting percent identity 100%, E value is 0. Now, as you are moving down, the identity is decreasing. Percent identity is decreasing. Look here. Percent identity is decreasing. And the length, and this is the accession number of the sequence, the database sequence. And if you want to click, you can click, and you can see the alignment as well. That what is the identity, positives, gaps, all informations. This is the alignment of all the sequences. In graphical summary, if you just want to focus on graphical summary, you can see, right? Red color, highest similarity, very high similarity score. So this is the higher similarity score. If you click on one sequence, let's say I'm moving the cursor, you can click and you can see, right, the details. So let's change some parameters and go back again. Now, this is the sequence which we have taken. I'm selecting now different database. In spite of non-redundant, I'm selecting this UniProt SwissProt, that is SwissProt, and let's see what I'm getting. Algorithm parameters same, I'm masking. I'm using the filter for low complexity regions, and in result, in spite of 50, I want 100 sequences. And let's see, let's perform the blast once again. Now you'll get the similar results. Whatever the result we have got here, we'll get the same result here as well. So now these are the results. You can see 100% first spike protein, and then 77%. Here also you can see first was 100% and the next one was 77% from Bet SARS-CoV-2. So it's all depend that how you are doing the customization. So there is alignment score, query coverage, E-value, all these informations are available. Graphical summary as well. Now you'll see, right? All are not red, only few are red. And then as you going down, because the results are being presented in a hierarchical order. Top of the table, you are having the highly similar sequences from the database. And as you are moving towards the bottom, the similarity level is decreasing. And it is quite evident from this graphical summary as well as from this description page. And you can see the alignment as well. If you want to see, I mean, this is the alignment of all 100 sequences which you have chosen with all the details. And if you want to perform the decision tree, then you'll get the decision tree as well. If you want to perform the multiple sequence alignment, you can perform the multiple sequence alignment as well. And if you want to filter, you want to add some organism. Let's say you want to exclude SARS-CoV-2. You don't want SARS-CoV-2 result in these results. So you can add and you can apply that filter as well. There are so many other options in the BLAST. It's a very powerful tool to find out the similarity of your unknown protein or DNA sequence with the database. And this is your multiple sequence alignment result of all the 100 sequences. You can see these are the 100 sequences. So you are getting some conserved region at these places. By the color, it is quite evident that most of the amino acids are of acidic nature, because the red color indicates the acidic nature. This is the coloring scheme. Conservation, it is telling you the conservation. And you can go back and you can select, this is the descriptive results, and rather than selecting all, deselect here and select only few. This is the original one, and then select this bat, select few more, and select from this side as well. Let's say you have selected some. Now what you can do, these are the sequences which you have selected. Now you can do, see here what you can do. You can perform the multiple sequence alignment of only the selected proteins. And I have selected only few, 9 sequences. So now you'll see the multiple sequence alignment of 9 sequences which I have selected. So these are the sequences which I have selected, and you can see still the one is SARS-CoV-2, the another one is related to bat, feline, porcine, bovine, from different organisms. These are the spike proteins from different organisms. They have infected, the host is different in every case. So some region is common. Now this region is looking, which is right, which is conserved. It means this region is very important. This is the region which is changing frequently in this virus, but this is the region which is retaining its conservancy. Doesn't matter which species it is infecting. So what scientists do, they target this conserved region only. So that is how you can do your analysis. It is entirely up to you. This is the result. It is quite clear. You can download this alignment result as well. You can see the phylogenetic tree. You can generate phylogenetic tree of these 9 sequences to know, yeah, this is the phylogenetic tree. I haven't edited this. This was the query protein. And you can see this is similar to this, more closer, and which is distantly apart. This spike protein, glycoprotein of contains, this is the protein which is farthest from all these spike protein. And you can change the parameter as well in this tree according to your requirement. You can download it, you can put it in your report. So a lot of analysis could be done. It's all up to your objective, what objective you want to achieve. If rather than having the name, I want only ID, right? So this looks much better. You can change. Rather than having the name, you just select ID. So now only IDs are available. You can select few other options if you get something better than this. Yes, BLAST name is viruses because all these are viruses sequences. So we're not getting anything out of this. So the BLAST ID, yes, this taxonomic name is helping a bit more. These are the two same 100% identity. Then we are having bad SARS-CoV-2 with 77% identity with these two. Then again bad SARS-CoV-2 with 76% identity. Then this feline and porcine, they are much closer to each other, 35 and 36% identity. Then we are having bovine coronavirus and porcine. They're again closer to each other. So I hope now you have got the better understanding of BLAST, that how to interpret the result of the BLAST and what you can get out of these results. If you are having any question, you can ask.
I have a question. Not sure if BLAST can do it, but if I have
Yes.
like a sequence, a strange protein, I don't know what is it, and
Yes.
I have the amino acid sequence. Now I want to know which domains it contains. Can BLAST help me with that then by comparing with other proteins, or do I need to use other software?
This is the main objective of the BLAST. As of now,
Yes.
I have just taken the protein from the database, but actually this is not the objective. The objective is not to compare the database protein with the database protein. The objective is to compare the unknown protein with the database protein. But just for the learning purpose, I have done it in front of you. But if you are having unknown sequence, that is, you have only 20 amino acids, alanine, you only have the sequence, nothing else, then BLAST would help you to find out everything about that protein, the evolutionary relationship of that protein, the functional information of that protein, the structural information of that protein. BLAST would tell you everything about that protein. And this is the main objective of the BLAST, to do the
Yes.
database similarity, to perform annotation.
Yes. Clear, because like before this course I heard about BLAST, and this was my imagination about it from biochemistry and genetics courses in the university. So yes, that makes
Okay.
perfect sense. Thanks.
Okay, Bada. Any other question? Any other question? Any other query? Because from my side, I have completed the BLAST. I mean, we can discuss and we can go on to discuss BLAST for a week. BLAST is huge. But as far as the basic understanding is concerned, I hope I have clarified everything about that. Not sure whether you have absorbed it or not, because until unless you are not going to tell me, I would not be able to understand whether we all are moving with the same pace. So please confirm, are you comfortable with the discussion, whatever we had in today's class or in previous classes? Is it helpful for you? You are learning something new which you haven't learned earlier? Please tell me.
Yes, for me, I took bioinformatics course in university because I study biotechnology and genetic engineering. And there is a new website in our course in university. They didn't mention it, but here I learn about them.
Okay, good. This is my objective, just to ensure that whatever we are discussing, whether we are discussing a database, then you should know inside out about that database. If we are discussing a software, then you should know everything about that software. So you can handle it in your project. If you want to do some task, then you can take the help from that software. And interpretation is the most important thing when we are talking about the software, because it's the software which is working. We are not working. We are just getting the result. We are submitting input, so we should know our input and we should know how to interpret the result. So that's it with the sequence analysis. When I say analysis, comparison of two sequences, comparison of more than two sequences, comparison of one sequence with the database. So this is what we have discussed in these 3 sessions about the sequence similarity. And these slides would be shared with you within just 5-10 minutes. I'll share it with the technical team and they would be sharing it with you. So with this, let's call it a day. Thank you. Let's meet tomorrow and we'll start the next topic. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, welcome.